Welcome to this video, a new 15-minute game playing D. Benavente. Okay. D4. Okay, let's see. I can go E4. Transpose to possible the pills or the modern defense. But I'd like to play a bit differently here. Stay within the queen pawn openings. Probably will get an old Indian or maybe King's Indian if he decides to go for G6. He doesn't. Okay, yeah, well, bishop G4. I go for G3. Okay, yeah, this is an interesting position type. Here I need to be aware of black playing a possible E6 and D5, after which my D4 pawn might be a slight issue. What I'm doing to avoid that is to just push it. And this also means that long term, a plan for white is to play against the E7 pawn. The pawn on E7 is now a bit hindered by D5. He will probably play G6. It's hard to imagine how black can play this without G6. Otherwise you cannot get your bishop developed. I mean, you cannot play E5 here or E6. I'll just play bishop H3, and E6 is terribly weak. So G6 looks normal. Maybe he can, or taking and G6, something along these lines, or take Rook C8, then G6. But probably I would play G6. Yeah, maybe after the capture. This is something that you can of course do first. But it's not clear that the capture on D5 is always necessary. Yeah. Well, okay. I don't believe he will play B5, where B5 would weaken C6 enormously. Maybe he's afraid of bishop B5 or something like that. Okay, the question is where to put the bishop on G2. On F1 to G2 or to E2 or H3. Many possible positions. H3 can be a really good square because it prevents any e-pawn move forever, and it puts the bishop on this diagonal towards the C8 square, where black's rook is maybe operating in the future. On the other hand, if you play the bishop on to H3, it does not provide any cover of the D5 pawn, like with bishop G2 and possible F4. I'll do that anyway. It looks like an interesting approach. It's not clear though. I mean, bishop G2 is also not bad at all. Yeah. That's a strange move, really. If I go F4, he needs to just retreat. He cannot go to C4, it's a fork. Oh no, he can go there. I mean, queen A4, this B5. But I take B5, so yeah, then F4 is just good. I mean, you cannot go to G6. I mean, if you go to G6, how are you ever going to move your F8 bishop? He just needs to retreat now. Knight C4, queen A4, check, B5. Knight takes B5, AB5, queen B5, check. Knight D7, queen C4. Yeah, this is just winning. Yeah, so he needs to return. Okay, and now I have F1, the F4 move basically. Yeah, Okay, he now probably will play g6. No. He simply refuses to play the moves that I think he will play. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is doing, really. Maybe just develop bishop e3, yeah. If he goes knight b6, this might be a point of the queen move. Knight b6, queen b3 was what I was trying to say. Now bishop d4 in fact threatens bishop d7. Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's strong anyway. Let's play that. Not think too much about it. If he goes bishop g7 now, I can. Yeah, I could take d7. He needs to take with the king then, which is not nice. But I just have rook e1. This is much simpler. Now he cannot castle due to bishop d7. Yeah, he cannot castle bishop d7. It's nonsense. e7 hangs. It's simple as that. e7 hangs. Oh, I can take it now. I was thinking maybe... I was at first thinking to take here. I'm not sure if this is better or not. Exchanging all those things, maybe. It's probably... It's hard to say what is better. It's both very, very advantageous. Now d7 is just hanging. And if he moves the knight, I mean, okay, there's b7. And where should the knight go? I mean... Knight b6. Yeah, this runs right into a b4 fork. It's not possible yet, but close. Maybe just a3 here. Where does the queen go? It can go to d8. Yeah? I wonder, maybe it was even better to take d7 first. I mean, maybe. Queen d8. Yeah? It's of course an excellent position. I'm not complaining here. Just not sure if I maybe had something better. I can take c5 and take b7, winning a second pawn, but I really don't want to get into opposite colored bishops, even though it's certainly not a drawish kind of opposite colored bishops position. Yeah, okay. Let's not be too sophisticated about that. If he goes queen d8, I just return to where? e3 maybe. Yeah, e3, and it's okay. I have the pawn and a completely dominating position. But maybe it was still easier to play this bishop d7 for tactical reasons, because I get to d4 with the queen quickly. I can show that afterwards. It's of course a choice between between many or various good positions. It's not like one is good, one is bad. Need to try to find the optimum. Okay, to drive the knight back, and b6 is also giving me on c6 a welcome target. Yeah, rook to c6 would be nice, but not according to the chess rules. Rook c6. Here, how to improve here? Yeah, it's very good for white, of course. Okay, but how to really make progress? Really something to c6, yeah. But if I move the knight, he can even take d5. Yeah, but this is just a bad position, no? Maybe. Yeah, come on, let's do that. Let's do that. If he takes d5, he can do that. It's just stays a terrible position. Yeah, this is also possible. But I get play against the d pawn if he takes d5. Yeah, this was quickly played. My general idea with all this is to retreat the bishop, play knight d4 to c6, and if he takes, I play rook d3 and get this pressure against the d pawn. I don't mind to return the pawn. Bishop takes d7 really was stronger. It looked a bit weird to me. This is why I didn't play it. But yeah, afterwards you know better. Hindsight is always 20/20. Yeah, he's gained a bit of activity, which was not really a necessary thing to allow. I'm still going for knight d4 to c6. Knight d4. Yeah, I guess I don't see any problem with this really. He cannot enter with the queen, for example. Yeah, this one, but I thought knight c6. Where does the queen go? Not sure. Queen to where? d7. Yeah, but how to there? Interesting. I wonder if I should take this knight. It's yeah, it's a slightly annoying piece, but maybe just retreat. Not sure. If I take, the queen can take. That's not very nice. Yeah, that is all. That's all that is not so clear. I mean, certainly it's not terrible for me, but it's not like an easy win. Takes queen g7 is even some activity. I don't know really. The idea is if he takes rook takes, I'm immediately attacking the e4 knight. And f5 would be a concession. I can just take it then. Everything else fails. Maybe I should go a4 first. Yeah, this is better. a4, a5. Get rid of the target. Okay, might play knight b2. Cautious. Just not be too quick about all that. Yeah, really, knight b2. That's a move. Okay, so let's see, maybe bishop. Yeah, I like that one actually. Bishop here, attacking him. Now, if he takes a3, I can play queen b3, and he needs to retreat, and I take on c4. This is okay. I need to get rid of those knights, of course. They're really a pest here. Yeah, I allowed far too much counterplay here. Far too much. Was really shouldn't. This really shouldn't have happened. Yeah, knight back to f6, and this is a weakness. Maybe. Okay, let's allow rook c6. Prepare rook c6 here. Yeah, I'm just keeping d6 under fire. I really like to. I need to get rid of this knight, Sam. This is this is really annoying. Rook, queen d3. Yeah. It always feels like I'm about to run into some silly fork. Can I not just take now? Or not? Why can I not take? Rook e4 at the end? I've got knight c6. Or rook d3. Yeah, I can take. I can take. This is, of course, a really good trade for me. Bishop and knight here are much stronger than a rook, of course. He's got those weaknesses, d6, a6 and so on, that I can easily exploit. My king is also completely safe. Yeah. I wonder about the best way to play. Maybe rook e3 even, getting one rook off. Yeah, I can get the rook. I can get the bishop to f3 here. Bishop d5, rook d5, bishop f3 is winning a whole rook. And here, yeah. Not sure what's the most precise. Yeah, this is not bad. I mean, let's just play that. Keeping the pawn and intending just rook c6 to get the d pawn as a winning pawn. Yeah, knight b7. Yeah, probably better to prepare that even a bit more. Rook c6. Yeah, come on, play it technically. Just keeping things as simple as possible. If he attacks a3 like rook d3, I take a6, rook a3, rook b6, taking b5. That's the b pawn. And then I can regroup. Knight b7 was also good. But no reason to not take the pawn. Yeah. Just grab. Just grab everything. Let's see, d6. Yeah, probably. d6, bishop c6. Now I just need to attack the rook here to force the pawn. I don't have a good discovered checker. Yeah, probably I don't have a good one. Yeah, I also have the A and B pawn, so I don't need to force the D pawn through directly. Intending B5 a4, a5, and so on. Yeah, okay.
Check. Black resigns.
Yeah, I allowed far too much counterplay here. Let's look at this again. I didn't want to take on d7 simply because it always looks a bit weird to take a somewhat passive looking bishop with a good a somewhat passive looking knight with a good bishop. But it's probably even simpler like that. This is probably the easiest way to play, because if you look at this, I can take b7 now without any problems, or I have this move, which is also very strong. It threatens g4 and knight e4, and he must play queen c5 basically, and this is completely lost. It's easier even than the game. Yeah, and here, I mean, it's a fantastic position, but around here I started to play some maneuvers that were really a bit unsuccessful. The knight d4 idea, well, the computer always gives me a big edge, but it feels like I could have done better. Yeah, I'm just checking if the computer finds something to punish my play, but it always gives a big edge. Yeah, okay, then maybe it was okay, but I didn't like to have those two knights around. It always feels a bit tricky. Yeah, here he could take here, but he must return the pawn now for a good position. So here, and now I have rook c6. And it's just invasion. He still suffers from all those weaknesses, plus it's a pawn. In addition to that, yeah, this basically gives up entirely. He must retreat and try to somehow defend this. It's not nice, but you can of course try to hang on and hope for a mistake. The whole opening concept here is slightly suspicious anyway. This type of structure is I guess pretty good for white, but he lost a couple of moves. This is really just losing a tempo, and here you can debate if I even played in the best possible way. The computer gives a good line here.
Check.
This is this is of course a tactical line, but a good line. Yeah, you need to play more concretely sometimes. What does black do now? The problem is, let's look at this. If he retreats, I go here, rook somewhere, and a move like that, black is completely busted. I just play, he cannot castle, this is the point. The king has already moved, and I can just play rook e1 and strengthen the position. This is just a disaster. Very strong knight a4. Okay, thanks for watching.